Hi there. Are you enjoying your stay at Toshi's place?
We've put together this sightseeing guide to help you make the most of your time in Kamakura.
Today, let's talk about Meigetsu-in.
Okay, let's jump right in. Welcome back, everyone. So you heard the intro feels like we're opening up a personal guide from Toshi's place here in Kamakura.
Yeah, it's a nice touch, framing it for visitors right here.
Totally. And today, using their guide material, we're doing a deep dive on one specific spot, Meigetsu-in Temple. Seriously, fascinating place.
Oh, definitely.
So if you are in Kamakura, maybe stay nearby, this is basically your inside scoop. We want to get into the history, the beauty, the philosophy, and, yeah, the rabbits too.
It really packs a lot in, doesn't it? Meigetsu-in isn't just one thing. It's got centuries of history. It's a proper Rinzai Zen temple, obviously stunning nature, but also this kind of quirky side.
Quirky is a good word for it.
And this guide material gives us a great way to explore all those layers, beyond just saying, go see this. It helps understand why it's special. It's part of the Kenshoji school, which tells you right away there's serious Zen practice behind it all.
Right. So let's peel back those layers, starting with the history, because it goes way back. We're talking late Heian period, like 8th to 12th century stuff.
Yeah, incredible. And it didn't start as some grand temple complex.
No, exactly. Began as Meigetsu-in, just a small hermitage, apparently founded by a guy named Tsunetoshi.
Right. And the reason was quite personal. He built it to honor his father, Toshimichi Yamabachi Shudo.
His dad was a warrior who died in the Heiji Rebellion.
Yeah.
So it started from this act of remembrance.
Which is really quite moving when you think about it. Not about power or influence initially, just memory.
Yeah.
Quiet start.
Yeah, it is. Then later on, Kamakura's history evolves. In the late Kamakura period, the bigger Zenkyuji temple gets established.
A very significant temple at the time.
And Meigetsu-in becomes a tachu, like a sub-temple, connected to Zenkyuji. So it's growing, becoming part of the bigger religious scene.
Exactly. Its status is definitely rising. But the really big expansion, the transformation, that happens later in the Muromachi period, 14th to 16th centuries.
Okay, and who's behind that?
That was down to Norikata Usugi. He was from a really powerful warrior family in this whole Kanto region. Big influence.
Okay. The source material calls him the Kaiki, the main founder, basically, for the temple we see now.
Yeah, he's considered the key figure for its development into a major temple. And the first abbot, the Kaizan, was Mishitsu Shugan.
Got it. So Usugi really shapes it.
He absolutely does. He takes it from a sub-temple to something much more substantial. But here's where the history gets, well, kind of dramatic. Resilience is the word.
Oh, what happened?
Fast forward to the Meiji era, late 1800s. Japan goes through this period called Haibutsu Kishaku.
Right, that was the anti-Buddhist movement, wasn't it? Lots of temples got destroyed.
Exactly. It was a really tough time for Buddhism. Temples were dismantled, artifacts destroyed, and Zenkuchi, the main temple Meigetsu-in was part of, it didn't survive. It was dismantled.
Wait, the main temple was lost, but Meigetsu-in, the sub-temple, made it through.
That's what's so remarkable. It survived that whole period. While its parent temple vanished, Meigetsu-in endured.
Wow.
So it carries this unbroken history, this piece of Kamakura's Buddhist heritage that, frankly, could easily have been lost. It's not just old, it's a survivor.
That really changes how you see it, doesn't it? It's not just pretty, it's tough. Okay,
Yeah.
but let's face it, most people visiting today, especially in June, they're coming for one thing.
The hydrangeas?
Hydrangeas, the famous hydrangea temple. Right?
Absolutely. And specifically the Hima Ajisai variety. There are loads of them, something like 2,500 bushes planted around the grounds.
2,500. That's incredible. When they bloom, usually June, it must just be this explosion of blue.
It really is a whole wave of blue. And the color itself is famous, that Meigetsu-in blue.
Yeah, the source calls it that. It's such a pure, vibrant blue. Almost doesn't look real in photos sometimes.
It's very distinctive, almost glows in the humid summer air. Walking those paths, then. That's just immersive.
Okay, now here's the bit from the source that blew my mind. You see this ancient place, the history, these iconic flowers. You just assume they've been there for centuries.
I think so, wouldn't you? Part of the original design, maybe?
Nope. The source says these famous hydrangeas, they were planted after World War II.
Isn't that something? It totally reframes what tradition means at a place like this.
Right. This defining feature, the thing it's nicknamed for, is actually pretty recent in the grand scheme of things.
It shows how places evolve, how
Yeah,
new
yeah.
things can become so deeply part of their identity. They feel like they've always been there, Just a few decades, really.
Fascinating. History isn't frozen, is it?
Okay.
Okay, from the vibrant colors outside, let's go inside the main hall to the famous round window.
Ah, the window of enlightenment, the Enso window. It's
Yes.
a hugely popular spot for photos, and you can see why.
It's just this perfect circle looking out onto the inner garden, right? Like a living painting that changes with the seasons.
Exactly. The source mentions people queue up in autumn for the view with the colorful leaves. It really connects the inside and the outside beautifully.
But it's more than just a nice view, isn't it? There's a deeper meaning.
Oh, much deeper. That circle shape, the Enso, is a really important symbol in Zen Buddhism.
What does it represent? The source mentions enlightenment, Buddha nature.
Yeah, all of that. Enlightenment, the inherent Buddha nature in everyone, universal truth, completeness, emptiness. It's often drawn in one single fluid brushstroke. It represents wholeness and the present moment.
So the window isn't just framing the garden, it's framing this big philosophical idea.
Precisely. And the source adds this other layer, the idea of it being a mirror of the mind.
A mirror of the mind. How does that work?
Well, the idea is if your mind, your heart is calm and clear, you perceive the circle as perfectly whole. But if your mind is agitated or distracted,
Then the circle might look distorted, like triangular or square, the source says.
that's the concept. It's a way to check in with your own inner state through what you're seeing. It turns looking out into looking in.
Wow, that's pretty profound for just looking out a window. It makes it an active thing, not just passive viewing. Very Zen.
It really is. It's a simple way for anyone, really, to connect with a core Zen idea about mindfulness and self-awareness. Makes the visit more than just sightseeing.
Okay, so deep history, survival, modern but iconic nature, profound philosophy. Where next? How about bunnies?
Yes, the rabbits. Meigetsu-in is also known as the Rabbit Temple.
It seems like such a shift. Why rabbits?
Well, it's actually quite clever, and the source explains it. It connects to the temple's name, Meigetsu-in. See the character for moon?
Yes, the Getsu for moon. Okay.
And in Japanese folklore, there's the famous story of rabbits living on the moon, right? Often shown pounding moki.
Oh, the rabbit in the moon. Of course, I didn't make that connection.
So the temple leans into that connection. You'll find rabbit statues around the grounds. Sometimes turtles, too, which are symbols of longevity.
Cute. Statues are one thing, but then there's
The rabbit space station.
yes, a hut with actual live rabbits. It's just so unexpected and delightful.
It really is. And the charm stand gets in on the act, too. They sell these adorable rabbit-themed amulets. The source mentions a lucky rabbit charm and even a space amulet.
A space amulet. That's amazing. Just pure whimsy.
It is. And there's this lovely phrase they use, Yusagi wa tonde haneta ni tsuki uyobu.
Which means,
The source translates it as, rabbits leap and hop, calling the moon.
ah, that's lovely. It ties the name, the folklore, and the cuteness all together.
Exactly. It makes the temple feel really welcoming, maybe less intimidating than some purely austere Zen places might feel. It balances the serious side with something fun.
It definitely makes it memorable, so you can appreciate the deep stuff or just enjoy the cute rabbits. Or both.
Right. There's something for everyone.
Okay, let's quickly cover a couple of other important spots the source mentions. The Meigetsu in Yagura.
Yes, the Yagura. It's basically a cave tomb carved into the hillside, and it's one of the biggest ones in Kamakura.
And it's believed to be the tomb of Norikado Uzugi, the guy who expanded the temple.
That's the belief, yes. And inside, there are carvings, which is why it's sometimes called the Rakan Cave.
Rakan are arhats,
Yeah.
right? Enlightened disciples.
Exactly. The source mentions carvings of Shakyamuni Buddha, Tash Nyorai, and possibly the 16 Arhats. It really shows the specific burial practices and beliefs of Kamakura back then.
Yagura themselves are pretty unique to Kamakura, aren't they?
Very much so. This style of tomb, carved into the rock face, you mainly find it here. It reflects how samurai and monks viewed their connection to this sacred land. Visiting the Yagura gives you a real sense of that specific local history.
Another layer of Kamakura's past. Okay, what about the garden in front of the main hall? The dry one.
The Karasansui. The dry landscape garden. It's a classic Zen garden style. Instead of water, it uses rocks and raked gravel or sand, maybe a little moss.
To represent landscapes, right?
Yeah.
Like water and islands.
Precisely. It's not meant for walking in, but for quiet viewing, contemplation, finding beauty in simplicity and abstraction. It's very serene.
A nice contrast to the hydrangeas, I imagine. offers a different kind of quiet moment.
Definitely. And then there's the other garden, the inner one.
Right, the one behind the window of enlightenment. The source says it's usually closed.
That's correct. It's only opened up for special viewing periods, typically when something exceptionally beautiful is happening there.
Right.
The source mentions the iris bloom, which is usually early June, around the same time as the hydrangeas start.
Yeah.
And then again, for the peak autumn colors, maybe late November, early December.
Ah, okay, so you need to time it right, or maybe visit more than once to see everything. Add the bit of mystique.
It does, and it really emphasizes the temple's connection to the changing seasons.
Okay, great. So let's bring this back to practicalities, especially for, anyone listening who's staying at Toshi's place and thinking of visiting. How easy is it to get to?
It's actually pretty accessible. You can take the train to Kamakura Station. It's not a long walk from there. Or it's a longer but doable walk from the main Kamakura area.
And the key thing the source highlights is its location, right? It's in the quieter northern part of Kamakura.
Yes, tucked away in the hills a bit. Which is a real plus.
Especially if you're staying nearby.
Mhm.
Like the source suggests, being local means you can potentially visit when it's less crowded, maybe early morning, right after breakfast.
Exactly, before the main rush of day trippers arrives. Or maybe later in the afternoon as things quieten down again.
Imagine seeing that window of enlightenment without jostling for position, or walking through the hydrangeas with a bit more space.
It totally changes the feel. You get that peace and quiet that Zen temples are really about. Experience it more like a local, less like you're just rushing through.
Definitely the way to do it if you can. Just remember, the source mentions checking if the inner garden is open and that there might be an extra fee for that part.
Good point. Always worth checking ahead. And if you have to go during peak season, like mid to late June for the hydrangeas,
Use Google Maps popular times, maybe. Get a sense of the crowds.
yeah, that can help. But generally, early morning or late afternoon is still your best bet, even during busy times, for a slightly calmer experience.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, Meigetsu-in is just this incredible mix, isn't it? You've got the deep history, the survival story,
The Zen philosophy woven into the design, like the window and the dry garden.
the amazing natural beauty, especially those hydrangeas, even if they're kind of modern.
And then the complete surprise of the rabbits. The folklore, the charm.
It really does offer so many ways in. History buffs, nature lovers, people seeking quiet contemplation, or just someone charmed by bunnies and space helmets. Okay, maybe not helmets.
Huh, maybe not helmets. But yeah, it appeals on multiple levels. It captures so much of what makes Kamakura itself so rich, that blend of culture, nature, history, and spirit.
It really does. It's a reminder that these places aren't just static monuments. They live, they change, new traditions like the hydrangeas take root, and simple things a circle, a rabbit, can hold so much meaning.
It encourages you to look a little closer, doesn't it? Beyond just the surface beauty. And maybe, like the window suggests, reflect a little inward too.
Absolutely. So, maybe a thought to leave you with as you explore Kamakura, perhaps using the Toshi's Place Guide. Think about how these layers, history, nature, belief, even whimsy, weave together in the places you visit. And maybe keep an eye out for those simple things, the unexpected details. What deeper stories might they be telling you?
What did you think?
We hope you'll make even more wonderful memories at Toshi's Place.